This is the Right Guys podcast where even the First Lady gives her theme song. And now your hosts, Josh Hammerling and that's the one.
Welcome back. Right Guys podcast. Don't know what episode number it is, but it's a big number. Happy
huge.
Wednesday. Oh, man. There's still some talk. Biden might still drop out. Remember,
I don't know. I
tomorrow,
heard Pelosi. Go ahead.
Yeah. Pelosi, let me see if I can find the exact comments. She's
Yeah.
now saying that they were taking out of context.
What, when she said she believes in the president will do, or she'll back the president, do whatever he wants to do, even though he has said this thing, they're still like, don't worry about, we'll support you if that's what you decide to do. And
Yeah.
they don't want him there. They want him gone so bad.
This is what happens, though, when you start having these conversations behind the scenes that you think are off the record, candid between friends, and all of these sharks in the media. They want to be the one to break, like the dam's cracked, it's leaking water. They want to be the one to completely bust it wide open. There's no such thing as off the record right now. There's no such thing in confidence. If you say behind closed doors that you should re-examine your decision to stay in the race, that's going to leak out. It's just going to, because Joe Biden is not the future of the Democrat Party. And even the party loyalists understand that there will be a time after Joe Biden.
Yeah. And this is all kind of coming to head on the same day where AOC wants to kick out Alito and Thomas, right? It's the same day that
It's not going anywhere.
It's the same Colorado, like a whole new version of COVID's kicking. I mean, they're trying all the things.
Oh, are they trying COVID in Colorado?
Oh gosh, you should see it's all over the things. I mean, we're the new home for the variant, right? And it's just in time.
I saw someone driving with a mask today, and I wanted to drive them off the road. I wanted to just nudge them into a ravine. Driving with a mask on in the car in 2024 is crazy. That's crazy.
All this time, the president is a total walking vegetable. And the most news we can get out of some liberal stuff today is that, they're going to get rid of the justices, right? I mean, the deflection machine is in full spin, right? There's nothing that can stick. They're trying everything to change headlines right now. And I don't think it's going to have the effect they want. I think November's coming in really fast and really hot.
Now, there will be a future of the Democrat Party without Joe Biden, but there will not be a Jill Biden future without Joe Biden. I mean, she will be able to go back to teaching community college English, which is not a bad profession. No. If you're passionate about it, teaching at community college level, go for it, right? But that will not put you in the halls of power. Jill Biden loves the Vogue cover shoots. She loves the police escorts, shutting down whole city blocks in New York City. She is the one calling the shots. Now, there's reporting that Hunter Biden has become the de facto chief of staff, but Jill Biden has become the de facto president. I mean, this is a photo that's making the rounds on social media. This is just crazy. This is just crazy. And there's nothing against first ladies. There have been a lot of really successful first ladies, but her actual obligations, you can count them on one hand.
Yeah. And
they involve Christmas decorations and the Easter egg roll and picking out what courses to eat at state dinners. I mean, like, those are her responsibilities. So seeing her with the U.S. Air Force presidential seal jacket with binders, it's a crazy look. It's a crazy look.
They're making her look presidential in this shot.
Yeah.
The first thing I'm thinking is she actually doing the job? Like, are all the briefings going to her desk? Are all of the decisions for the country being put in front of her plate? I mean, is the cabinet got influence on this? I mean, is she the acting president of the United States? Which is, I don't remember electing Joe Biden.
No.
I don't even think she's got the qualifications to run like a 4-year college versus a
I wouldn't hire her to run a convenience store.
Yeah.
Um,
There, right.
so this isn't the first time this has happened. Woodrow Wilson's wife, Edith Wilson, the historians universally understand that in the final days of his presidency, she was running the shot. She was calling the shots after he had a stroke. That is undeniable. There's also a lot of reporting and historical record that the same may have happened with Ronald Reagan towards the end of his last term, where his wife was calling the shots, not like military things, but playing a more heavy-handed role in making sure that the country actually functioned. It is not without precedent to have a first lady doing this. This is the first time, though, that it's gotten out while the guy's still in office. It took historians to learn about Edith Wilson and Woodrow Wilson. It took memoirs to learn about Nancy Reagan. We are seeing this play out right in front of us. And what you hear a lot from Democrats, and what I've heard a lot from Democrats over the past week, is they say, oh, well, yeah, so what? Joe Biden has his flaws, right? FDR could run the country. And they're pissed. Like when FDR was president, the media hid that he was in a wheelchair because they didn't want the country to know and for that to prejudice them, right? But that has nothing to do with the presidency. One of the key roles of the presidency is not to run a 40-yard dash, right? That's not the role of the presidency. You can be in a wheelchair and be a very effective president.
Yeah.
You cannot have Parkinson's and be an effective president. You cannot have dementia and be an effective president. So they're pissed that this is all coming out now, right before an election. And Jill Biden, she's the angriest of all. Absolute angriest of all. I sent you something today, and you hadn't seen it before. That for a hot second, couple years ago, there was a first lady theme song where the reporting indicates that she tasked the Marine Corps band with not only coming up with a fanfare for the first lady, which I believe was the name of the song, but also to record it so she could play it at events where they're not there. She wanted her own Hail to the Chief. After this reporting came out that she had basically done this, they said, oh, we don't want to do this anymore. And the Marine Corps band dropped it. But I want everyone to hear. Let me get the name right. I believe it's fanfare to the First Lady. Fanfare for the First Lady.
Ladies and gentlemen, the First Lady of the United States, Jill Biden, accompanied by the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, and the 2020 and 2021 National Teachers of the Year, Tabitha Rosproy and Juliana Urtubey.
I wait for this for dresses. Princess walks out, right? Oh, that was awful. I mean, it's a catchy little tune. All right.
The beginning of it.
The Secretary of Cardona and 2020 of the Year, Tabitha Yana Urtubey.
Let's listen.
Yeah.
Let's listen to the beginning. Here it comes. You know what that reminds me of?
An
I
English
don't-
town song, hunting.
I don't know if this is just like a bad, like if I have this memory right. I feel like there's a part of the Harry Potter movies where there's like a Hogwarts band, like right before like a Quidditch match, where it's just like a bunch of people like. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Because to me, it felt like it's just some, like the princess is about to walk out. The little fanfare was just crazy. Is there a Hogwarts band? Because that's what it feels like, right? Like you're waiting for people, the maids in waiting to come out. and she gets escorted out to her beautiful place where she starts to speak to the people. And if they had accidentally played like the actual Hail to the Chief, they might have actually realized what's going on. So they had to come up with something.
Oh, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's the end of the 4th Harry Potter movie when the band plays every time one of the people come out of the maze. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
At the
I
end,
never
at the
watched
end, oh, you never watched it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, it's just crazy. Now I kind of want to hear it because I don't know.
So I'll see
I
if I
don't
can
need
find it.
fanfare.
I'll see if I
Apparently
can
she
find
does.
it. It reminds.
And for a moment, I thought it was like the start to like a PBS documentary series or something, right? It's like a year right before. You know,
I'll see if I can find it later. But that's what it reminds me of. There's this little band that would play. This is crazy. This is objectively crazy to have a vice president. Sorry, no, I keep going on vice president. To have a first lady. First lady. It would be crazy to have a vice presidential fanfare. Crazy to have a first lady fanfare. And they had that. She commissioned it. And they played it a few times. The press got wind of it. What's going on here? Now they dropped it.
Yeah.
This is the kind of first lady we have. And I have no problem with a first lady being policy oriented, right? It is a little weird to have her headline an event with the Secretary of Education. Now, she has an education background. That's fine. But the more you see of this, the more you get the impression that it's actually Jill Biden calling the shots. That, I mean, this looks like it was taken twilight hours, prime nap time.
Yeah, right. It's after 8 p.m.
And is that what's happening? They're moonlighting. She's moonlighting as president. Joe Biden takes a nap and she takes over. They tag team it. Because there was a question posed by Ducey at the press conference yesterday, asking KJP what happens if there is a nuclear missile detected and it's after the president has gone to night bed. And well, here's her answer.
Well, he also said he's sharpest before 8 p.m. So say that the Pentagon at some point picks up an incoming nuke. It's 11 p.m. Who do you call? The First Lady?
He has a team that lets him know of any news that is pertinent and important to the American people. He has someone or that is decided, obviously, with his National Security Council on who gets to tell him that news.
So
she hates the guts first. She hates that picture. So who's this team? Who's on it?
Well, probably Hunter.
Oh,
probably Hunter.
That makes a lot of sense.
If I had to guess, Hunter.
Jill.
Probably
Jill's
Jill.
there. Think Jilly Bean is there. I think
Jill.
I think she's there.
Chili Bean.
It's Chili Bean. I love her. Chili Bean.
Well, so that's her answer, and she's giving the impression that like, oh, we're gonna go rouse him out of bed and get him up right away. But when John Kirby was just on Fox News, I think also yesterday, he was asked a very similar question, and he didn't give the impression that the protocol is to wake him up and have him handle it right now. The impression he gave is that if something happens in the middle of the night, the president will get to it the next morning.
A couple elections ago, there was the 3 a.m. call. Now there's real concern about can he handle something, that doesn't happen between 10 and 4 p.m.
He gets calls in the middle of the night all the time. And a couple of G7s ago, Brett, you might remember, there was a missile that fell in Poland. There was a concern that it could have been a Russian missile. That call came in to him in the middle of the night. He called together the G7 in a snap meeting by 8 o'clock that morning.
So just so we're clear, the worry was that Russia had attacked a NATO country, which would trigger World War III.
Yeah.
They called him in the middle of the night, and don't worry, he got everyone on a call the next morning at 8 a.m. I remember that night, how nervous and frantic I was trying to figure out, was that a Russian missile? Was that a Ukrainian anti-aircraft missile that went awry? What happened? Because technically, an attack on one NATO member is an attack on all. And if Russia was to attack Poland, we'd be at war with Russia. And the idea that Joe Biden slept through that news, no one woke him, and he got everyone in NATO on a conference call the following morning is insane. It is insane. So I don't know who's running things.
Yeah, because somebody had the president. He can't do anything about it. But they're just not going to. I hope they just don't sit there with their hands underneath them. Right? They've got to do something. Someone has to be informed. What's the protocol?
Try turning
You
down
know?
your RTX again. Your RTX is cutting out. Josh, like me, has maybe just turn it off.
I'm going to take it to 0 so that helps. Am I cutting out?
Yeah, you're good.
Test,
we
test,
both
test,
have
test, test,
we
test.
don't we both have AI on our ends trying to cut out background noise. It's the
Who's
future.
who's
It's the
running
future.
things? What's the protocol look like? What is? I mean, how are we handling this? Is the president even doing the job now?
So for this is the impression I get. Jill Biden can't call the G7, can't call NATO onto a conference call. She can't do that. Only the president can do that. So unless they're prepared to weekend at Bernie's this and prop him up and drag him into the room, it's something he has to do. That's not something they can delegate, right? So in that event, they are at his mercy for however sleepy Joe Biden is. But I feel like for everything that can get delegated and everything that can get signed with auto pen, which is something presidents do now, they don't sign every bill, every resolution. A lot of times it's just the auto pen signing it. There's a lot of things. If it doesn't require him actually physically to do it, it's not him doing it. It's just not.
And at any moment, Russia could pull a fast one somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what happens if we get a terrorist attack? What happens if, there's a natural disaster that hits? We get some really terrible hurricane that comes in. He's got to get FEMA rolling out. Is he going to be able to do it? We all know that he can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just drives me absolutely crazy.
I made it worse. Josh is underwater right now.
Man, I'm just trying to swim.
So we've got this reporting from Breitbart and from others that convicted felon Hunter Biden is now basically the acting chief of staff for Joe Biden. That his family is acting like the gatekeeper. They are protecting him at all costs.
Are the previous staff still on the payroll? Did they just let everybody go? Right? Because I've been seeing some things floating around there in the old Twitterverse and stuff that's pretty much saying that they've let most of the cabinet go. And I haven't been able to verify any of this stuff, but there is a move to get rid of the old cabinet, and his family's moving in. I mean, it sounds like the whole Biden crime family just jumped right in when things are looking like there's an opportunity to supplant the boss, right? I mean,
they are circling the wagons, right? They are performing what the media is calling a protective bubble. Now, that could be for a couple things. Yeah, I think that there are a lot of enemies in their midst who are looking to take Joe Biden down. I don't think it was unique to Trump that he staffed his White House with people who really didn't want him to be president. I think Joe Biden did the same now, especially now that the cat's out of the bag and everyone knows how bad he is. I also think that there is an effort to slow the decline. If we can put him around in this bubble and we can limit his exposure, we can limit how the public is able to recognize it, right? Which is why yesterday Jill Biden did 3 campaign events while Joe Biden took an early nap, right? That's how that worked. Jill Biden's on the campaign trail. Usually what happens is the president goes to one state, the first lady goes to the other state, vice president goes to the other state, right? And the reason that the first lady's out and about is to cover more ground. But Joe Biden took a nap yesterday.
He doesn't have the fortitude or the
Well,
constitution.
he was doing some NATO stuff.
Was he?
Like,
that's the thing.
Are you the one who sent me the video of it awkwardly sounding like he had relations with the guy's wife?
Yeah,
I think he meant to say
few of those in that same interview. He's trying to grasp for words that aren't there now. And I'm thinking the whole reason the family, like you said, is circling the wagons there is because the decline is so precipitous at this point that, I mean, there's not a lot of time left on the clock. And he may not even get to the election, Max. That's what I'm thinking is happening here. They know that any day, like every day is a gift now for having his
Yeah.
life, which is what you hope for people, especially our president. You know, even though I don't like him, you still got to respect the office, I guess. And I don't want a president dying like that.
Yeah.
But what happened? I mean, if he dies, Kamala Harris is now president. That means Joe Biden's no longer running things, right? Imagine all the people that are feeling like they want to
Not
pull the
just-
strings, right?
Not just that Joe Biden's not running things, Joe Biden's staff goes away. It's
Yeah.
not like Kamala
Yeah.
Harris takes over and Joe Biden's staff all stays. Jill Biden goes away. There's no first lady emeritus role, right? Where she gets to stay on anyway. The minute he's gone, she's gone, which is why you're seeing her fight like hell to hold on to this power. She loves the power. And here's an interview from earlier in the year with CNN where she was asked, would Biden take a cognitive test? And just listen to the disdain in her voice, that how dare you even ask if he's going to take a cognitive test?
Nikki Haley, one of the Republican candidates, is calling for mental competency tests for those politicians over the age of 75. What do you think about that?
Ridiculous.
Would your husband ever take one of those?
I mean, we haven't even discussed, we would never even discuss something like that.
Wouldn't even discuss that. Really? Not even going to discuss a cognitive test? I feel like at the very least you can discuss the cognitive test. Maybe you decide not to do it. Maybe you decide to do it and not release the results. But I feel like we've long passed the point where maybe we should talk about it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
How
Because
old
you
is
have...
this-
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, how old is this interview, right? I mean,
Well,
whether
that
it's
was
2
from when
months
Nikki
ago or
Haley.
3 days ago.
That was from when Nikki
com-
Haley was still running. So it was
Okay, it's just a few months ago. Then I mean, it's not
Yeah.
long. Here's the thing, though, is that it should have been discussed then. It should be discussed now, and should have always been on the table, especially with the voting public, because Joe Biden's acting like a dictator almost, right? I mean, she has filled the role, the power vacuum in Washington because of Joe Biden's fifth decline. We didn't vote for Joe Biden. We don't know what decisions she might make. We
no,
don't even know how
We didn't.
she's representing the United States if she is acting in that.
First lady is a ceremonial position.
Yeah.
Other than the Christmas decorations and the Easter egg roll, and like every first lady gets like one pet project near and dear to their heart, right? Michelle Obama's was school lunches. Melania Trump was online bullying.
Bullying, yeah.
Like, other than that, the first lady really isn't supposed to do that much. It's not a real position. It isn't. Josh, you're good
Right.
at audio, right? You're an audiophile.
Yeah.
You're
I try
good at
my best.
listening. You're good at listening things and figuring out what they said. This was Joe Biden's big speech. Remember, tomorrow is his big boy press conference. This was his
Big
big
boy.
boy speech before the before NATO and the world. And he called someone yesterday a wigger, which is, I can't say the N-word, but it's a white
Yeah.
N-word.
Yeah.
And I want to see if you're hearing what I'm hearing. Here's the clip.
Progress we've made in the alliance is thanks to the Secretary. He's a man of integrity and intellectual rigor, a calm temperament in a moment of crisis.
An intellectual wigger.
I think he was trying to say of intellectual rigor. So
Oh,
intellectual rigor, right? But there becomes a point in somebody who has dementia when they search for words, right? Because they can't remember what they want to
The
say,
Rolodex.
so they start pulling what they can find that drop in there, and that's what can get close. And you know, I think he has absolutely no idea that he's saying these words. I don't think he's aware of the meaning of the words that are coming out of his mouth, and he also seemed like he got lost after that moment because he tries to shake the hand of the guy too. So yeah, it comes out as sounding really, really bad. Like that's a bad look, right? It's a bad sound. But it's the real dangerous part is that that's the word he come up with. It's confusing wigger and rigor. It's an easy mix up. I'll give him that one, right?
maybe, But he won't give Trump the benefit of the doubt ever.
No.
This is the best way I can describe what's going on with Joe Biden's brain. I've done a lot of, I'm not a neurologist, but the way that I would describe the problems that Joe Biden's dealing with is, I've said this before, think of a Rolodex, which I'm barely old enough to know what a Rolodex is. This is a Rolodex. You used to go on your desk, you should put people's business cards on it, and instead of having everyone's phone number in your phone, you have this Rolodex. So imagine you need a word and it's in this giant Rolodex, right? And you're flipping through it to find what word you want. We all do that instantaneously when we decide what we want to say. With Joe Biden and anyone with dementia or Alzheimer's, whatever the hell he has, it's almost like a magician with a deck of cards saying, tell me when to stop. And he just rattles it, stop. And whatever you've stopped at, that's the word that's coming out. Now, you might get a little bit close. Like if you told me stop when I'm halfway through the deck, I might be able to tell you to stop pretty close to halfway through the deck, right? But that's the difference between saying intellectual vigor and calling him a white Negro, right? I mean, that's the difference. It's one or two cards away, but that's a significant error, right?
Yeah.
On the world stage, you can't just be saying, oh, well, tell me when to stop. Stop.
Yeah. Because this is every NATO country in the world seeing the person who's supposed to be protecting and help protecting them say things that he's unaware of. You know, I mean, that's the scariest part about this whole thing is that he just doesn't even know what he's saying. So why keep rolling him out there then? You know what? I mean, they have to go through the, I know.
As soon as he drops out, they get to keep the money, not in their own personal bank accounts, but they can donate it to whatever charity they want. You think the Clinton Foundation was bad? Wait until you see the Biden Foundation that comes out after he loses, that funnels all of the leftover money into that charity. And just wait for the Q1 disclosures to see how much Hunter Biden's making from the charity, how much Jill Biden's making, if Joe Biden's still alive, how much he's making. That's the BS, right? Or they give it to a different charity that collaborates with the Biden Foundation. And there's ways to do it. There's absolutely ways to keep the money and to benefit. You're not supposed to, but there's ways absolutely to do it. No, they're sticking on for money. They're sticking on for power. They are making hay when the sun is shining, quite literally. And they're making hay when the sun is shining, and they can see storm clouds on the horizon, and the sun's already begun to set. So
how many times have we heard from the Bidens that Donald Trump's the actual threat to democracy out there? He's dangerous in every way. And here we have people actually acting as dictators and fascists, actually running the country with an unelected official for a bunch of money that they know that they're going to be able to collect. But imagine how pissed off the Democrats must be knowing that $200 million war chest just sticks with them, right? I think that's the big fight right now, is fighting for that $200 million war chest. And that's why we're seeing that infighting. But they're the true danger to our republic. They're the true liars and thieves out there. But we're just supposed to believe them. You know, we're supposed to believe they have our best interests at heart. And if we have somebody who clearly does not have our country's best interests at heart running our country, I mean, it's time to get them out. It's time for them to go.
Do you know what the Cook political report is?
No.
Have you ever heard of that? It's like a gold standard for judging how an election is going. So they do polling, right? They average polling. They do that. Everyone does that. But the Cook political report is the gold standard for saying, like, what does this state look like? Is it a lean Democrat, lean Republican? Is it a toss-up? Safe Republican, safe Democrat, right? Those are the 5 real ones that they do. And every campaign, Republican and Democrat, looks at the Cook report and they use that as a metric to see, do I invest in this state? Well, if you're a Republican and a state just went from lean Democrat to safe Democrat, probably shouldn't invest a ton of money there.
Right. It'd be a waste of cash, or at least waste of treasure.
it'd be a waste of everyone's time and money. So you want to go for the toss-ups. You want to defend the lean Republicans if you're Trump. You want to go for the toss-ups and try and turn lean Democrats into toss-ups. The Cook Political Report released an update today on their map. And if you are a Democrat, you should be trying to get Joe Biden out. 6 changes to the Electoral College rankings. Arizona has gone from a toss-up to now lean Republican. Georgia has gone from a toss-up to now lean Republican. Minnesota, deep blue Minnesota, has gone from likely Democrat to lean Democrat. Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, which is an outlier. That's like you can win. Nebraska's like Maine. They dedicate, according to congressional district. That's typically been a blue hotspot. That's gone from likely Democrat to lean Democrat. New Hampshire has moved from likely Democrat to lean Democrat. And Nevada has gone from toss-up to lean Republican. That is bad news for the Joe Biden campaign. Great news for Trump. And you can see how they reached this conclusion. Look at this. Wow. Can you tell me, if you had to guess, when was the debate? When do you think the debate was?
Like the divergence right there of the cratering for Joe Biden, and it's still continuing to fall.
That is the debate. And we can see the polling results now, and they give it to you by demographic. So Trump picking up, look at the difference. Everyone's always said, oh, women for Biden, women for Biden, women for Biden, right? Trump's only down by 7 points among women.
Wow.
That is a huge shift. A huge shift. Still winning among men. That should be a little higher. White college, still down there, still leading. Look at black, 20% black support.
Unheard of.
That is how Georgia goes from toss-up to lean Republican. If all the polling, this is the polling average. This isn't just one poll that you can say, oh, that's an outlier. That's an outlier. They are averaging the polls together, and they're concluding that Donald Trump has 20% support among the black community. Even worse is that 9% are saying we don't know, right? It's never been like that. Donald Trump pulling 41% of Hispanics. 41% of Hispanics. I want to see the exit poll for 2020. 2020.
Yeah, I was hearing rumors like even Colorado was just separated by a point, but I'm not seeing that anywhere.
This is how you know Colorado is in play. One of your senators just came out on national television and encouraged Joe Biden to reconsider staying in the race, saying that he thinks it's going to be a bloodbath. If a Colorado Democrat is turning on Biden, he's not doing it because he's rational and he believes what he can see with his eyes. He's doing it for self-preservation. And when he's on, I forget if it was CNN or MSNBC, whatever channel, screaming that a bloodbath is coming, that's because he knows he's going to be down ballot on that bloodbath. And he doesn't trust all of the people rushing to the polls to stop a dementia patient from getting the nuclear codes. He doesn't trust for them to split the ticket and vote Trump and him. That's why he's screaming, because he knows that Democrats are going to be out of jobs.
I mean, he was essentially saying that they could have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and the biggest loss since Nixon or Reagan. I think maybe Reagan, right? But I think Nixon probably had more of the House and Senate. I can't remember if he had all three, but could you imagine this kind of just shellacking? To see the 20% amongst blacks voting, I mean, in the past, that's been what, 4 and 8% sometimes, less than 10% historically. To see it jump up to at least 20, it's unbelievable. And with Hispanics, Trump's even more popular.
Yeah. So we have among black voters, Cook Political Report is saying that Donald Trump has 20.4%. CNN's exit poll, which isn't the one to necessarily go with, but let's look at it. Trump had 12% support. So Trump has gone up 8% and Biden has lost 16%.
Oh my gosh.
that is an election destroying swing. That's not just an 8-point swing. That is a huge swing. Biden has lost more than Trump's gained, right? So there's a possibility those voters come home to the Democrat Party, sure. But that number puts Georgia leaning Republican, because you can't just count on Atlanta to vote Democrat all the time, right? Let's look at Latinos. CNN poll had Trump at 32% to Biden 65. Here among Hispanics, which is not a complete synonym, but it's pretty close, 41%, 41.4%, and Biden only has 47.7. So Biden lost what, 18% again, and Trump gained 9%. So same deal. Trump's gaining, but Biden is losing them.
Losing it. He's hemorrhaging more than Trump is gaining, but it's all a net effect towards Trump, right? Because that's like a swing in his favor. It's the plus, right? It's the loss of the 18 plus the 9 gain. Right now, if you're on the campaign, that's what I said. That he's going to
running for the ships
now because it's a throwaway. It's a throwaway election now.
It's a throwaway for him. Because let's be completely honest, Joe Biden will not be alive in 4 years. That's not me calling for violence. If his neurological decline is as advanced as what we can all see, chances are he is not going to be alert, awake. He might still be vegetative. Who knows? He's not going to be calling the shots in 4 years, right? Now, the staffer just out of college, working on his first campaign, is he going to go down with the ship?
No, absolutely not. I mean, unless it's like a resume builder and you're taking one for the team, you're getting something.
Not a resume builder.
Most are going to avoid it.
Losing in a landslide is not a resume builder. Political consultants do a really good job at brushing aside losses. Oh, win, lose. Yeah, win some, we lose some. You lose the presidency as an incumbent in a landslide, there is no coming back from that, right? Yeah, sure. The captain goes down with the ship. Fine. It's a little bit of a different calculus if the captain has a fatal condition where he's going to die anyway, right? I mean, like you don't. The young kids aren't going to go down with the ship. They're not going to do it. So look at age-wise. CNN exit poll: Trump among 18 to 24-year-olds. Trump 31%, Biden 65%. Let's look at this. Cook. It's now 41 to 46. Not a perfect, so it's 18 to 29, right? Not a perfect thing, but
it's in the margin of error. And if you're in the margin of error, it goes either way.
Yeah. Biden 18 to 29, 65 and 54. He's down. Trump's up. Look at people in the 30s. Biden won 51 to 46. Trump. Well, they don't show it. Let's go 65 plus. 47 to 52. Biden 45, 48. So Trump's losing a little bit there. That's crazy that Trump is winning on the backs of younger voters.
I just don't think they can get away with the old staples in the election cycle. Like they're going to destroy Medicare, right? They're taking away everything. People realize, young voters, for the first time, there's real consequences now. They've never seen this before. They know that their entire future hinges on whether Joe Biden wins or loses that election. And if he wins, it's just downhill from here. I mean, it will completely change our country.
And then look right here. This is for everyone just joining. This is from the Cook Political Report, which is like a gold standard for judging not the way the race is going to be, but how it stands now, where states lean, what way it seems to be leaning. Democrats. Joe Biden only has 90.8 support of the Democrat Party, which is pretty high, right?
Yeah.
But you see that among Democrats, 5.4% are voting for Trump. Look at the GOP side. Donald Trump has 93% of Republicans, and 4.4% of Republicans are voting for Democrat, or he's going to vote for Biden, supporting Biden. All this talk about the never Trumpers, about the DeSantis, the simps, whatever you want to call them. Most DeSantis voters are not DeSantis, but we all know the Twitter personalities who were all in for DeSantis. DeSantis or die. No way we're voting for Trump. Yeah. That got blown out of such proportion, but the data shows that the never Bidens are more plentiful. There are more never Bidens among the Democrat Party than there are never Trumpers in the Republican Party. And you wouldn't know that.
What a switch. What a shift, right?
Have you seen that in the media? Have you seen that on social media?
More and more. Yeah.
After the debate. But even they're not never Biden's. They're saying, please not Biden. Please not Biden. Here in the data, and this is a compilation average of polls showing 5% of Democrats are going to vote for Trump. Trump has more Democrat crossover than Biden has Republican crossover. Yeah. Trump is doing a better job at holding on to Republicans than Biden is doing at holding on to Democrats. And then look at independents. Trump is winning in independents. If all of these numbers hold, Trump wins. Like these numbers can't be true and Biden win. You can't have it. You can't have that both happen. Right.
Well, what if it does? Though? I mean, then there's all kinds of new questions that start popping up, right? We thought we saw the middle of the night Biden jump happen again. Do we see the same thing play out? And do people take it seriously this time because of all of these prior polls?
Yes. But look at it this way. We've done a lot of coverage of this on our old podcast, and they're continuing to talk about election fraud. Election fraud is an important thing to talk about. But the time to litigate the 2020 election was in 2020. This is the 2024 election, right? So we needed to spend all this time getting the word out, getting people aware of what's going on and putting mechanisms in place to stop it. I just saw in, I think it's Georgia, where every day that they count early ballots, they're now going to count paper ballots as well as the machine tally to ensure they don't reach a point at the end where there's a discrepancy. Very good. They're approaching that in terms of it's a conspiracy theory to have a problem with that, which is ridiculous, but at least they're going to be doing that. That's a plus. But look at it this way. There are neighborhoods in Philadelphia that went 100% for Joe Biden, where every single voter voted for Joe Biden. Now, you can do that in a world where Donald Trump only has 1 in 8 support among the Black community. You can conceive a world where even though Donald Trump has 1/8 support among Blacks, that not one of those happen to walk in the polling place. That's fine. In a world where Donald Trump has 1/5 support among the Black community, you can't pass it off that, oh, well, I guess the 20% who support him didn't vote. Because as that support increases, so too does the anxiousness and the eagerness to vote, right? It's not a passive support. To go from 12% support in the Black community to 20% in the Black support in the Black community has an accompanying excitement, eagerness, more likelihood to vote. So you will see that. So you won't be able to go into a place like Fulton County and say, oh, well, we just got 100,000 ballots and surprise, surprise, 99% went to Biden, right? You can't do that in an electorate where 1 in every 5 of those voters don't support that candidate. So if they try and pull that kind of nonsense, then it's up to the people to ask themselves, what are you going to do about it? Right? Because it's one thing for you and I to sit on camera and to look at these results and say, wait, they had a 3 a.m. ballot drop and almost every ballot went to Biden. That doesn't seem right. It's an entirely different matter for these communities in these cities to look around one another and say, hey, did you vote for Trump? Do you vote for Biden? Did you vote for Biden? In the course of your day, you could debunk stolen election statistics like that, right? If they say, oh yeah, congratulations, Biden won every vote in this precinct. It's not hard to look around and say, wait, is that true? No, I didn't vote for him. You can't. Yes, you can't do it. We know the areas of the country, we know the cities, we know the states where they're playing these games. These games, both in terms of any electronic manipulation or just old-fashioned ballot harvesting like they do in Minnesota, where we've seen this. The Project Veritas did a leak on it, where they're sending in people into high rises. They're collecting ballots, filling them out themselves. You can't do that, though, in an electorate that is swinging away from your candidate.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
It would make the lie that much more bold, right? And in your face. So we'll see. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because if it does, you would see a real change in the American fabric in those days.
Yeah.
I really think Trump's probably going to pull this one out. I'm still sticking with my Joe Biden wins, because
No, you can't.
bad things.
You can't.
I'm going to go with it. I can't stick with it. I can't stop now.
Really?
What? You're just silent. I
Really?
have to tell everyone that Joe Biden's going to win, because if the machine that got him there in the first place is still in place, they're going to do everything in their power to get there. And we'll probably, I feel like the whole thing is so deeply corrupt that votes get switched, right? Things are connected to the internet.
Here's the thing. There was an American psychologist named Paul Meehl, and he had a theory for how to talk about likelihoods.
Yeah.
Right. And he presented this thing. Like, let's suppose you want to know how likely is it that someone goes to the movie theaters tonight. And you run all these numbers, right? You run all these equations, you poll everyone, you get a feel, and you say, I think there's a 50-50 chance he goes to the movies tonight. Well, what happens if he breaks his leg? What are the odds of him going to the movies the same day he broke his leg? I guess not zero. Technically, he could still hobble into a movie theater. But there are things that can change the calculus tremendously. And if you don't take them into account and you try and discredit them, say, oh no, well, this is the historical, this is what the bellwethers say, this is what we thought last week, so we still think it this week. If you don't take into account these variables that have the likelihood to completely unend the results, and you ignore them, well, yeah, you can keep saying that it's 50-50 shot, but most rational people would say that the day someone breaks their leg, they're probably not going to the movie theater. So you need to have all of the data before you dig your foxhole and you say, this is my opinion, I'm sticking to it, and you're not going to change it. So you still think, you think Joe Biden's walking into a movie theater with a broken leg?
I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. But I made a claim, and I'm going to stick with it. And if it doesn't come true, fantastic. Like, I will be the happiest person you will see. But if it does go that way, man, there's going to be a lot of questions that come up. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be pissed. There's going to be a real shift. I don't think if they're going to steal another election, this is going to be the one, because it's too throwaway. Save it for the next 4-year cycle, right? Sit back, wait. I mean, the only problem with that is maybe the ways that they would influence elections would be changed in that 4 years, but it's never stopped a lot of these organizations or groups that want to take over an election. So I want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong. Seeing all of the shifts in demographics, polls, and stuff like that. I mean, the writing's on the wall. It's clear, right? The money favorite right now is on Trump. Yeah. I can't go to 270 to win or 5380 or all those other poll sites and not see the writing on the wall. And that's why I still can't blow my mind whether they want to get behind Joe Biden or not, because if it is a throwaway election, you keep him in there, right? Yeah. And the person that you put in, they're a throwaway candidate. So it's like sticking your middle finger to the person that might jump in that race, right?
This is the paper that Paul Meehl wrote back in the 50s. When shall we use our heads instead of the formula? And he's talking about throwing out everything, and let's just the guy with the broken leg isn't going to the movies. We're at this point. The man with dementia isn't going to win the presidency. And no matter what data, you're like, oh, well, technically this poll, if you look at this focus group, no. The data is all trending in that direction. Let's set that aside. Let's just use our common sense, use our heads instead of the formula. I wanted to show you something else. This is the consequences of what happens if Colorado, if Joe Biden underperforms in Colorado at the rate the polls currently indicate he will by congressional district.
Whew. Holy.
So only 2 would be. Is this congressional district or is this something else? Is this
Deep model.
This is
down south.
CD8.
I'm guessing 61 and 17.
Oh no. Okay, so this is the local. This is the local stuff. Local. This is the state level.
Okay.
That's a lot of Democrats losing their election. These
I'm
are all
shocked
these
by
are
the
all
number. I'm shocked.
Democrats.
Like, there's never been toss-ups like that.
They would lose. They're set to, according to this, they would lose 9 House reps and 2 senators.
Holy
That's why.
wow.
That's why they are panicking. Even in, do I call it hippie blue, Colorado? It's not purple anymore.
There's
all
a
purple.
lot.
Is Colorado still purple?
It's blue in Denver, and then you look at the rest of the counties, and they're pretty red. It's just that the overwhelming number of
Colorado
voters are in Denver. And
outside of Denver and Boulder, Colorado's wonderful. I loved it in Colorado. Loved the time I spent.
All the voting power sits in Denver. The overwhelming number of population sits inside, and they almost have complete control over the elections once it happens out, just because by virtue of the numbers, right?
And here's Michael Bennett. Here's Michael Bennett, the clip.
Dana Bash reported that you, Senator Jon Tester, and Senator Sherrod Brown all said during that lunch that you don't think President Biden can win in 2024. Is that true?
Well, it's true that I said that, and I did say that behind closed doors, and you guys and others
leaking out.
asked
See, it's
whether I
leaking
said
out.
it, and that is what I said. So I figured I should come here and say it publicly.
Why do you think he can't win in November?
I just think this race is on a trajectory that is very worrisome if you care about the future of this country. Joe Biden was 9 points up at this time. The last time he was running, Hillary Clinton was 5 points up. This is the first time in more than 20 years that a Republican president has been up in this part of the campaign. Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election and maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House. And so for me, this isn't a question about polling. It's not a question about politics. It's a moral question about the future of our country. And I think it's critically important for us to come to grips with what we face if together we put this country on the path of electing Donald Trump again.
So you're...
All right, so the alarmism of Trump aside, that is shocking honesty coming from not like the Senate leadership, but he is no slouch. Michael Bennett's no slouch when it comes to where he would rank in the hierarchy among Democrats. And he's in a state that if you had asked me, how's it going to go a couple months ago, I said, oh, it's blue. Don't even campaign there.
Yeah.
And he is pulling the fire alarm.
And it's
publicly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like you said, the leaks are coming out, right? The force field that the media was giving a lot of these elected officials is gone. Like, it's completely evaporated. That's shocking, number one. Number two is that he understands that if Colorado falls, imagine all the other states that'll fall in line, because this place is blue. Like, you got a Denver man, and it's all blue. Even our new mayor is a dyed-in-the-wool liberal, right? And if it goes just 50-50 in Denver, Donald Trump wins the state of Colorado.
Yeah,
he does. I mean, if he gets 51% of the vote in Denver, Trump overwhelmingly won all of the other counties by huge margins.
Yeah,
they should be afraid. They should be afraid of what's going on. And then the question is now is how long is it going to be before Donald Trump's doing another rally here? How long before the machine starts putting the money into the states that they think they can start winning? Because there's now 10 electoral votes in Colorado. That's a lot of votes. I mean, we shifted from 4 to 6 to 10 in my lifetime. You know, it's no longer an outlier, a state that you can't want. That's a huge chunk of electoral votes now. So where's the RNC in Colorado stepping this stuff up? That's the other thing, is I haven't seen jack from the RNC in Colorado. I don't even know if they have offices anymore. Like, Donald Trump's winning the state And all he
Well-
has to do
well-
is take 10 days off and play golf.
Yeah, we've heard some stuff about the RNC and why they don't have a lot of money anymore. Look at
That's
the Cook
Where are they?
Political Report. Right now, Cook Political Report, nonpartisan, pretty much a gold standard for just judging the horse race, says that Donald Trump is at 268 electoral votes among solid Republican, like the Republican, lean Republican. He would just need one more to force a tie, 2 more wins. So then you start looking around. Can he win Maine? That's 2 electoral votes. If he wins Michigan, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin, where there have been polls showing he's up, Democrat run polls showing he's up, right? The map comes where one more. Where can we pick up one more? You look at Maine, Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, and then you start saying, well, can he take that one? Right? Can he try and take the other one in Maine? Right? It's you start looking where is that one more congressional district going to come from? Because as long as the Republicans hold the House, Donald Trump could be tied and still win the presidency, because then the House would vote. So this is the horse race.
Yeah. How many people in the polls have been polled by pollsters who have been lifelong Democrats but don't want to be seen as somebody who might vote for Donald Trump and haven't said that they're going to vote for him? And if there's just a little bit of change in that, right, you would see New York starting to shift. You could see parts of California starting to shift, right?
Yeah. No, that's the shy Trump voter.
Yeah.
Right.
Or maybe just the common sense voter. They realize that the kind of crap Biden has done, they're willing to take a chance on somebody else. Right? Maybe that happens here. And if New York just had a little bit of a shift, man, I think they would be the first to really to change, right? Because they're starting to, it's like all the crap that liberals put out. And New Yorkers are tired of that crap. I mean, they want to go back to just being able to go to work every day, pay their taxes, and not have somebody involved in everything they do every day. I would love to see New York go the other way. I'd love to see Virginia, right, or West Virginia take a little bit of a turn. Georgia, that surprised me. The Wisconsin and the Michigan ones are the ones that are. Whew,
so this is the really Bradley effect. The Bradley effect refers to a gubernatorial race in 1982 in California, where an African-American LA mayor, Tom Bradley, went up against the attorney general, a white man. Bradley was ahead in the polls all the way leading up to the race. And then when it actually came to election day, he lost. And one of the theories was that people on the phone didn't want, even talking to a stranger they've never met, they'll never meet again, wanted to come off as not being racist and that they would support a black candidate. But when it actually came time to pull the lever, they didn't, because they didn't have to prove it to anyone. They didn't have to prove that they were colorblind to anyone, and they voted for who they actually wanted to. The theory all along is that there is a Trump voter similar to this. The idea being, if you spend 7 years, which is where we're at this point, 7-8 years, saying that Trump is Hitler, that Trump is a racist, that Trump is a threat to humanity itself. If someone you don't know picks up the phone and asks you, are you going to vote for Trump? There is a large incentive for you just to say no, just to make them go away. Even if you don't know them, there is a psychological aspect of you don't want to come off as a Trump voter. There were shy Trump voters in 2016. There were shy Trump voters in 2020. I suspect there will be shy Trump voters under this Bradley effect this year as well. And we see that even in the polls starting to shift Democrat support to Trump. Give you the final word.
If places like Colorado can start to crumble and fall apart for Joe Biden, what other states are going to start following suit? If that's the case, today might be the time for you to start rallying the troops behind Donald Trump if you're a Republican. It might be time to start knocking on those doors. It might be time to start a ground game in places that you want to see change, because now's the time to do it. Because now is when people will listen. Now is when it needs to happen. So if if you can, get out there, share this show.
Yeah.
Let them go and watch what we talk about, so we can help lay the groundwork for why they might want to change.
Yeah.
Right. That was the time. I mean, there could be a huge change. It's right in front of you. All you have to do is.
If you live in one of these states, if you live in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, Michigan, Minnesota, if you live in one of those states, call up your local Republican Party, your state Republican Party, ask how can you volunteer. Now is the time to solidify these gains, to bake them in, to get out, pound the pavement, knock on doors, register people to vote, and where legal, yes, harvest their ballots once the ballots drop. Democrats are going to do it. And there's no point of us sitting on the sidelines crying about it. If you live in one of these states, or you are going to be visiting your family in one of the states, consider going there and volunteering. You're going to need all the help we can get. Here in Texas, we're pretty red. I don't foresee much money or time being spent canvassing in Texas. But if you live in one of these states that we've talked about today, where you've seen the quick political report shifting it from likely Democrat to toss up or toss up to likely Republican, it's not the time to rest on your laurels and say, we won this thing. It's time to go out and win it. That's my advice. And of course, share the podcast. Share the podcast with your friends. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching us on Twitter, X, welcome to the party. We go live on Twitter, YouTube, Rumble. So follow the account you're watching us on. Also follow, subscribe on YouTube and Rumble as well. We go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We also have the audio edition of the podcast available everywhere that audio podcasts are found, so you can tune in for that. We try and make this as audio friendly as possible. That's it for this edition of the podcast. My name is Max McGuire.
And I am Josh Hannon.
Remember, the fight to take back the country is not over yet, but the only way we win is if we all stand up and fight together. See you next time.